I'm going to call the meeting of the Rhode Island Bridge and Turnpike Authority to order. Do I have a motion to move public comment to the bottom of the agenda to accommodate? Motion seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the December 10th, 2025 board meeting. Have a motion? Motion by Ms. Pinch, second by Peter. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the portable changeable message sign purchase order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
RIPA operates and maintains 12 portable changeable message signs. The PCMS feature remote changeable LED message boards and remote operation point-to-zoom cameras. The PCMS provides vital roadside communication for safety, construction, and maintenance operations. The existing PCMS were purchased approximately 8 years ago and require a significant amount of repairs, maintenance, and cost to keep operational. RIPA staff implemented a phased plan for PCMS replacement and budgeted $60,000 this year to purchase 2 units. In July of 25, RIPA staff issued an invitation for bid for 2 new PCMS with the optional specifications and received 4 bids ranging from $36,850 to $68,700. During the bid analysis, the lowest bid from Aramco Incorporated was deemed non-responsive. The company confirmed that they had provided a price for the base units without the specified options. So we went to the next lowest responsive bid from Technology International Incorporated, which was $43,600. And they had originally confirmed that they included all the specified options, but then later informed RIPA that there was an error in the bid and the price could not be met. RIPA staff determined it would be in the authority's best interest to issue a new invitation for bids in November of 2025. 4 bids were ultimately received and publicly opened on December 17th of 25, and they ranged from $51,902 to $70,700. The lowest responsive bid was determined to be Traffic Signs and Safety Incorporated, which is a certified distributor of the specified PCMS units. It should also be noted that that bid does reflect general price increases that are effective as of January 1st of 2026 due to the tariffs. RIPA staff recommend approval of a purchase order in the amount of $51,902 with Traffic Signs and Safety Incorporated for the purchase of 2 brand new PCMS units.
Do I have a motion? Motion seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you, Eric. Next is the capital improvement plan update.
Thank you, I'll take that one as well. The RIPA capital improvement plan was previously updated in 2022. Numerous capital projects have been completed since then, and some capital projects have also advanced through different phases of design and construction. Some have also secured federal funding. RIPA has identified the need for new capital projects to be programmed and would like to update the capital improvement plan to meet these future needs. RIPA staff interviewed Michael Baker International, one of our on-call technical consultants, and determined that Michael Baker's capital planning department is qualified and available to assist with this update. RIPA requested and received a proposal for capital planning development services in the amount not to exceed $58,157. RIPA staff reviewed the attached proposal, comparing it to the previous executed task order in 2021 with WSP, who helped us with the last one, and determined it to be reasonable for the effort outlined in the scope of work. RIPA staff recommends approval to execute a task order and fee with MBI in the amount not to exceed $58,157.
Thank you, Eric. Do I have a motion to accept as presented? Motion, do I have a second? Seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next, Federal Grant Support Services Task Order.
I'll take that one. RIPA staff continues to pursue federal grant opportunities when notice of funding opportunities are issued. Recently, a NOFO, as they're called, the federal acronym, was issued for the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development, called BUILD grant program. RIPA staff met with 2 on-call services consultants, Jacobs and Michael Baker International, to discuss their firm's grant assistance capabilities. Both firms identified their experience, capabilities, and interest in assisting with the grant application process. RIPA staff requested each firm to submit a cost proposal. Jacobs' proposal was for an amount not to exceed $35,000, and Michael Baker's proposal was in the amount not to exceed $13,000. RIPA staff is recommending approval to execute a task order fee for Michael Baker's proposal in the amount not to exceed $13,000.
Thank you, Eric. Do I have a motion to accept as presented? Motion by Charles and Karen, seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify. You have a question?
Just if we could get a clarification on the size of the grant we'd be looking for here.
Yeah, this would be.
I'm not familiar with the build program.
We'd be looking to get a planning grant for the Mount Hope Bridge Deck rehab/replacement effort that we're currently working on a consultant selection for. So the planning grant could include anything all the way from doing this design study effort that we're looking at as far as different options all the way through design. So that's what we would write the grant for, to include all the design services. So if we were successful, you're probably talking several million as the size of the grant roughly. It wouldn't be a multi-million construction grant, in other words, like $100
That's what I wanted to
grant.
clarify,
It'd be
right.
more in the order of a few million.
And Mr. Chair, just to add, we have already reached out to Washington to make certain that we're best positioned to get some of this money.
Okay. Thank you. Further questions, discussion? We have a motion on the floor. It was duly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next is the routine inspection of the Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge.
Sure, I'll take that one as well, thank you. Federal Highway Administration requires routine bridge inspections every 2 years. Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge is due for routine inspection this year. The inspection conforms to the National Bridge Inspection Standards, NBIS, and is, as such, is detailed and labor intensive. RIPA will receive a detailed report as the deliverable, which will be used to plan required maintenance and capital projects. RIPA requested GM2, one of our on-call technical consultants, to submit a proposal for the inspection. GM2 performed the last routine inspection and is the designer of record on the current joint rehabilitation project. GM2 submitted their proposal in the amount not to exceed $13,275. RIPA staff is recommending approval of the attached proposal by GM2 in the total amount not to exceed $13,275 to perform the routine bridge inspection. The costs included in the proposal were benchmarked against previous inspections for this bridge and other bridges under the care of RIPA and determined to be reasonable. $15,000 was budgeted for this inspection this year.
Thank you, Eric. Questions?
I'd just like to point out, because not everyone knows what the Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge is, and most of the public think it's part of the Jamestown Bridge, the Jamestown-Verrazano Bridge. In fact, it's immediately before the Jamestown, so after you pass the Narragansett Wickford exit on 138 and you round the curve, that bridge is immediately before the Jamestown-Verrazano Bridge.
Thank you. Further comments, discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Peter, seconded by Karen and Charles. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the vessel collision warning system.
Sure, thank you. I'll take this one. This item is for discussion only. On January 9th of 2026, RIPA staff met with Scott Snelling, the founder and CEO of Roebling Labs LLC, a startup company developing a vessel collision warning system that can be used for bridge structures. Mr. Snelling has offered RIPA a no-cost 3-month pilot program for use on the Newport Pell Bridge. When installed on the Newport Pell Bridge, the alert system would be the first of this type in North America, according to Mr. Snelling. The pilot program would facilitate Roebling's development and evolution of the software that's involved in the system, while allowing RIPA staff to experience what a warning system could offer and how it would function with the RIPA Traffic Management Center. RIPA would have no obligation to continue beyond the period of the pilot program. Roebling Labs is located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Mr. Snelling has previously worked on the Newport Pell Bridge during his former tenure as an engineer at Parsons Brinckerhoff, which is now WSP.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Cost? None.
No cost to us. The only thing he asked would be that we would be able to provide a 120 outlet somewhere on the catwalk under the bridge and access to the catwalk. So it's,
And is that readily and easily?
yeah. Frank was in the meeting with us and he said that's not a problem. So that would be the only thing we would have to do.
Okay. How long would that, how long does he want to put it in for?
It's a 3-month pilot program. You know, maybe he'll offer to leave it up longer if he gets good results, but there's no obligation for us to continue with him at the end.
Maintenance, who oversees it?
That would be on him.
Everything's on him.
All we have to do is provide access to the system.
And as far as additional personnel on our, it's all on him.
Yeah.
And let me just, one more question. So when, who, they monitor it in Cambridge?
I'm not sure, he may have a remote monitoring from Cambridge, but anytime he would have to come out and check the equipment, all we have to do is drop him off.
I understand,
To let him
but
get access.
who's gonna be monitoring this, you know?
Oh, I'm sure, he'll be monitoring, and I believe it would include some sort of a monitoring in TMC so that they can see it in there and watch how the system performs.
And he's met with all the regulatory agencies, Coast Guard.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't
He doesn't need to, it wouldn't involve it. So the system would gather AIS data, which is available anyways. Anybody can request it.
Yes.
And that AIS data that's on all of the large ships is what the system gathers and tracks to you know, for the software to look at the movements of traveling ships.
And no, it does not affect the integrity of the bridges.
No, no. It's about the size of a microwave. That's what that would be installed up on the catwalk and basically plugged into a 120 outlet. And the equipment, it's probably takes up an area like this big. You know, that's about it.
Yeah, that's some questions.
Are there any liability concerns with this? Is there any agreement we have to sign, and have you had looked at that at all?
I have not been involved in this.
We haven't. We just wanted to open it for discussion because that would be the next step. We would develop some sort of an agreement, and Scott Rowling had mentioned that would be the next step with us. So I said, let me take it to the board first and discuss it and see if there's interest in pursuing it, and if so, then that would be our next step. We'd start working on an agreement.
You'll have to provide us a release, a waiver,
That's
indemnify
right.
us, and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So this offer from this company is coming at the right time, and it's not a coincidence that it's coming now because the National Transportation Safety Board recently held hearings on the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And what came out of those hearings was much of what we've already heard, what you know, the causes of that bridge, the vessel strike that took down the Francis Scott Key. But what came out that was new out of the hearings was that the NTSB would like all of us that have bridges in the shipping channel to look at motorist alert systems. And so that is, you know, I mean, obviously that's the NTSB speaking, so companies obviously are responding to that by having systems, making certain that those of us that have bridges that are in the shipping channel know of these options. So they asked us to look into it, and this is a perfect opportunity to explore this as one of the options for satisfying the NTSB's request.
So you're looking for this board to say, go ahead, go to the next step?
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking to see if you're willing to let us engage with the company and you know, help with this pilot program. You know,
Okay.
I think it's based on our meeting with Scott Snelling. I think it's a win-win because you know, ultimately there would be no liability. You'd have to have a release incorporated into the agreement, and then we get an education on what kind of warning systems are. You know, we're looking into warning systems as it is. I didn't even know that this company existed until he approached us.
So my question then would be to Mr. Rodeo is, we need to take a formal vote in order to authorize Eric to move forward to further discussion with this company, or?
Not at this stage, but I do think once
some
we
point they
once
come
we
back to
confirm
us.
that the agreement is
Right.
in place in writing, it should come back before the board.
Yeah, we would bring the agreement forward.
Okay, just make sure you keep Joe involved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next, capital project status report.
Sure, I'll take that one as well. Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification. Yesterday, they did a mock traffic setup. He was out there with their sub-consultant IDS, and they were getting a feel for the traffic, how the traffic is handled up there. Today, they actually start the scaffold installation. It's the actual start of construction today. So they'll be up there at 15 minutes from now. They'll be doing traffic control and starting the scaffolding. So,
This scaffolding is on the cables above
scaffolding is on
above
the
the deck?
cables. Their plan is to install scaffolding on both cables because they ultimately want to have what they consider a walk-to-work situation where, so during the scaffolding installation, they'll be doing alternating lane closures, you know, wherever they're working. And some of it will depend on wind conditions and weather conditions because they want to stay productive. So if they can't use a man lift on a high part of the cable, they may work on the other cable on a low portion, you know, so, they anticipate starting actual construction on the cable in March, but the scaffolding installation will continue through April, weather permitting. So-
We've done, this agency's done a nice job informing the public as far as, you know, lane closures and.
Yeah, we put warnings up, they gave us a 2-week notice on January 6th, and we changed our BMS signs that day to tell the public to anticipate the lane closures, and we worked on a public relations release, so.
Yeah.
And stakeholder emails.
Yeah, the stakeholder emails.
I just keep them informed as to
Yeah.
what's going on. like
And
you
Eric, those are,
normally do. No,
Yeah.
no, please.
those are relatively short lane closures, I would imagine.
At times they'll be short, but there are times when they work on the upper portions where they use a cable with a pulley system to pull up some of the platforms, and they oftentimes will attach it to a truck, and the truck will pull the cable, so the truck may need some running length so that they can pull it with the truck, and then the cable will pull the scaffolding up. So there may be times that they have to lengthen them as well, but we're gonna try to keep them as short as possible, as we usually do.
Right.
So.
Okay, thank you.
The infra program management is going along with the whole infra project. The next talks we're having with HDR, the program manager, is for some construction inspection services and also for assistance with public relations. They've got a considerable resources in the public relations department. We'd like to get some public relations going soon as we start to get nearing the bid phase, because, you know, this project would be impactful for several years to the public, so we want to get some notifications out early and often. The deck, so the deck and the tower and the dehumidification, portions of the dehumidification have now been combined into one contract, and we're at basically 90% design, and we've been coordinating with all 3 consultants together on that, and it's moving forward nicely. Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge and Jamestown Verrazano Bridge joint is on winter shutdown right now. The HVAC construction, the only thing left is final commissioning and punch list items. We continue to finalize that with the contractor. Vessel strike vulnerability assessment is in final draft review right now. And let's see, the deck assessment for Jamestown Verrazano Bridge. Last night, we actually had crews out there doing scanning, GPR scanning and other electronic scanning of the bridge deck. Pier 10 bearings replacement on Newport Pell Bridge is at about 30% design. We just received some draft documents the other day that we're reviewing. Undermining repairs for Evans Ave Bridge for the abutment is in conceptual design. We've been in discussions with a consultant on some ideas on that. And lastly, Mount Hope Bridge interim inspection is scheduled for the week of February 2nd. We anticipate no more than 5 days of that inspection, and that's weather permitting. So we anticipate providing the UV and traffic control internally, like I mentioned at the time when we got the approval for that.
Eric, before you continue,
Sure.
I just wanted to bring up on the topic of inspections that we have received a letter from the Attorney General's office that's responsive and to the 2 Access to Public Records Act complaints that were filed. One was filed by Mr. Landekick, the other by Mr. Squires, who is counsel to the town of Bristol, and we have received a decision dated January 15th, 2026. On those, we had essentially the same response to each of those complaints, which indicated that we are prohibited from releasing inspection reports until that we hear from the federal government telling us whether we can do that, and that any redacting has to be done by the federal government. And the decision, I'll just, the 2 critical sentences indicate that RITPA is required to not disclose in this case, the inspection report until TSA has completed its review process. They also said RITPA did not have the discretion to decide whether to withhold the report. given that disclosure of the report is prohibited by federal regulations. So that was the decision on those two. So I just, as we proceed with inspections, Eric has submitted new reports to the federal government, and that's where that stands at this point.
Thank you for that. Done, Eric? Good?
Done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, financials, Jeff?
Unless Eric wants to take it, because it seems to be his meeting today. As always, I'll be brief. The first 5 months of fiscal year 2026 was solid when compared to budget. Traffic was higher by 1%, and total revenue was higher by $3.3 million, or 16%. The primary driver of the higher revenue is due to higher average toll revenue per vehicle of $3.04 versus a budget of $2.65. Operating expenses were lower by $423,000 or 6%, primarily due to lower personnel expenses as a result of open positions in maintenance and customer service and employees out on FMLA. This was partially offset by increased costs from a third-party vendor who is providing supplemental phone support for RIPTA's customer service department. Higher credit card fees due to higher volume also contributed to increased costs. Overall operating income was up $3.8 million, and net income was up $6.5 million, primarily due to higher investment income. When compared to prior year, total revenue was higher by $2.2 million, or 14%. This was driven primarily by higher bill by mail revenue and higher collections on past due invoices. Operating expenses were higher by $1.1 million, or 19%, primarily due to higher personnel expenses as a result of compensation increases in our health insurance premiums, the additional cost of providing supplemental phone support for RIPTA's customer service department, the increased volume associated with DMV lookup fees, and the timing of bridge inspections year over year. Overall operating income was up $1.3 million, and net income was up $1.5 million. To date, we have submitted for $3.4 million of reimbursement from RIDOT for the earmarks related to the Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification project and $625,000 of reimbursement from Federal Highway for the new Port Pell Bridge infra project. I'll be glad to take any questions you may have on the detailed financials.
Questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Okay, next, the Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the things I wanted to note is, as you know, every month I include in the package the statistics on the Pell Bridge vehicle crossings. And as you can see, I think we have again pretty much set a record for the most traffic. Traffic continues to increase, the most traffic certainly each month. And so we're continuing to see an increase in volume on our bridges, and specifically on the Pell. Customer service initiatives, the phones, I'm pleased to report that we're seeing some great results, that the wait time for our customers has been reduced significantly. The same is true of the walk-in center. We are serving people effectively. AAA continues to be just the best of partners for us. You can do customer service business in any of the AAA offices. We've equipped 3 of them with battery testers since transponder batteries have gotten so much attention, and we want people to be swapping out old transponders for new ones. We are searching high and low for more battery testers because we've only been able to equip 3, but they're the busiest 3 AAA offices with those battery testers. We're still looking for some more that we can give to the other offices. AAA would love it, and they've had customer requests to be able to test batteries at other AAA offices. But they continue to be just a wonderful partner for us, and they really provide satellite offices for us. We're here in Jamestown. Those who don't want to come down from perhaps north of Providence to visit the walk-in or don't want to call us, they have the AAA offices really available to them all over the state and even into southeastern Massachusetts. So that's a great thing too. Smishing, some of you may have received a text last week. It reared its ugly head again. The Google lawsuit is ongoing. We also have resources within the Easy Pass group. There is an IT team at the Illinois tolling authority that has some crackerjacks. I have been reaching out to them with the phone numbers, and they have been quite effective in tracking it down and addressing some of this smishing. We are streamlining our customer service operations to give our lean customer service personnel the ability to focus on substantive tolling issues, like why am I being charged this rate instead of that rate? I need to put a new credit card on my account. I need to add a plate to my account. We want them doing that. And so we have streamlined the mail function. I think that's already yielding savings for us. And it's just, it's allowing the customer service reps to focus on the more substantive work. And the last item is that the next board meeting is February 25th, 2026.
Thank you, Will. Okay, so that, we're going to go back now to the public comment portion of the meeting. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the board?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Jerry. Yes, sir.
I apologize for having to leave.
Okay. Thank you. So good morning. My name is Steve Ruggieri, and my colleague here is Rich Fournier. We're both Bristol residents, and I had the pleasure of being here for the December meeting, you may recall. But we appreciate the opportunity to offer public comment today, as our request to be on the agenda for this meeting was denied. As we stated at the last meeting, we represent a group of concerned East Bay stakeholders who are concerned of both the condition and safety of the Mount Hope Bridge. For the record, at the last meeting, we requested transparency and release of the November 24th inspection report to simply substantiate the claims that the bridge is safe. We feel that the public is owed transparency on this matter. It's an important public safety issue. We stated that this matter needed independent board attention, as our prior request had been denied by the authority management team. Chairman Salome requested that we provide our questions in writing, which we did. We received a disappointing response from the management, which deflected the key issues and did not address several of our questions. I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Did the board have an independent review of the management response?
Would you like to respond to that?
Yes, the board, the letter was forwarded to the board chair, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the question was, did the board have a debate or independent executive session to review the validity of the responses? Because it is an independent function, the oversight of the management team.
Did we have it? No, we did not.
Okay. So some of the key issues that we have with respect to the response, but the management stated they know of no other bridge authority that releases its inspection reports. And we would start off with, how about Rhode Island Department of Transportation, where the reports were a matter of public record and online. We also provided information on New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Other states have this as a best practice. We also see that we continue to stand behind the SSI designation as a foil for releasing even a redacted report, which we requested. And I would state that Rhode Island Transportation and Bridge Authority is alone in this position in the Northeast. They ignored best practices by other states that we had presented. And management also stated that there's a wealth of information on the Mount Hope Bridge inspections online, which we, quite frankly, don't see. We see none of that. As Director Silvera commented, the AG's response to our complaint implied that the SSI designated, the TSA designated the report as SSI. We see other evidence. And we have some questions that were not responded to about who and how the report was designated as SSI. And I don't know if it's appropriate, but I'd like to ask Peter, because he has the longevity in the corporate history back to 2001, how was the original reports for the inspection at the Mountain Hope Bridge designated SSI? What was the process and who did it? And
So I apologize, but I just have to advise the board that an item that's not on the agenda can't engage in a discussion among the board members back and forth. We can take the comment and we can give an official informational response from either the director or the chairman if we'd like, but the discussion among the board.
okay, maybe that can be a follow-up item, because we see some inconsistencies, if you will. We have a letter from Rhode Island Transportation and Bridge Authority's attorneys from September, which was the original first response back to the complaint. And one of the things that's cited here, I'll leave a copy for the chairman, is that although Rhode Island Transportation and Bridge Authority has received the report, and they're referring to the inspection report at this point in time, because it was marked as containing SSI, it must first be reviewed and potentially redacted by the TSA. So the intent there, it seems as though something is a little bit off in the timing, because it says that Transportation and Bridge Authority received the report and it was already marked as SSI. So we have a question as to whether or not the contractor has authority to stamp the report and then present it to the Transportation and Bridge Authority, because they state separately then that from there it would have been transferred to TSA for potential redaction. So it seems as though we're not quite sure which came first. And this is a question that we can take up. So in summary on this point, the activity that Rhode Island Transportation and Bridge Authority has with respect to inspection, releasing inspection results, is not consistent with even Rhode Island Department of Transportation, nor any other New England state. Usual practice, again, is to release a redacted report which builds public trust and provides them the information that they need to ensure that the public safety is being addressed. In fact, the Federal Highway Administration has a strong bias towards release. In many court cases, they have stated that it is in the public's best interest to have the information available to the public, and the courts have upheld the public right to information. Federal law does not automatically make bridge inspections SSI. A lot of the information in the report, of course, is structural in nature. It is not special security information. But once the report is stamped as such, unless it's redacted, then the whole report becomes protected, which is unfortunate. And that's why a lot of states have a methodology of releasing important information to the public, and maybe they withhold only a small bit of the security vulnerabilities on these bridges, which are not necessarily the entire report. So the blanket SSI theory is, we feel, is inconsistent and not appropriate. And it is conflicting, actually, with Rhode Island's Department of Transportation own position, because RIDOT publicly states that their bridge inspections, including the Washington Bridge, are not SSI. And as we stated last time, the George Washington Bridge in New York City, the busiest bridge in the world, is not SSI. And you can get inspection reports on that bridge. Yet, the 4 Rhode Island bridges that the Turnpike and Bridge Authority has responsibility for are all SSI. So it makes the Transportation and Bridge Authority's approach look like an internal policy decision rather than a genuine federal mandate. And so we have exception to this point. So in closing, I'd just like to say that the board has a fiduciary responsibility, the duty of care, duty of loyalty for the public safety, and should provide independent oversight over Transportation and Bridge Authority to ensure that the information provided to the public is appropriate to ensure that the public safety is being addressed. So we have a couple of requests. One is we would like to ask the board respectfully to review the responses that we received, the outstanding questions that we still have that have not been addressed, including the ones that the attorney referred to on SSI that require further discussion. We'd also like you to review the information that's in this letter and see an inspection, a confirmation of the timing on when this occurred, because we think there's a little inconsistency here in the information regarding it. Regardless of what, this is simply put, is that rather than just say, trust us that the bridge is safe, we're just asking the Turnpike and Bridge Authority to provide sufficient information to the public. And even we asked before about a redacted report, and I think it's within, there's a pathway for Rhode Island Transportation and Bridge Authority to provide a redacted report. You know, despite the information that came back from the AG, I think that that's not the case. Every other bridge country in the United States handles it differently. And so I would say that you folks are outliers with respect to the way you handle the inspection. And so that is our point, and that's what we request. So we would also like to request to hear about the update on the inspection that Director Seabury mentioned coming up in February. Because again, there may have been some items in the November report that were highlighted that needed an annual checkup. We'd like to hear what the results of that is too. So, and with that, my colleague Rich Fournier has a few comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Try to
you.
be brief with this.
No, no. No, take your time, please. Thank you.
Let's see. Again, Rich Fournier, also Bristol. Steve's letter, which was dated December 13th, 2025, included a question on the authority's efforts to produce an updated strategic plan, as the current one on the website expired in 2023. We didn't get a response to that particular question. And presumably you're aware the authority is subject to the Rhode Island Quasi-Public Transparency Accountability Act, which the requirements of this act require a strategic plan to be in place and available for review by the public. And we believe that one of the strategic issues that should be addressed is the obsolescence or functional obsolescence potential of the Mount Hope Bridge. We've read claims that the dehumidification and bridge redecking projects could extend the life of the bridge by 70 years. I guess we're skeptical of that claim. The bridge is 100 years old, has 2 lanes, as you know, backs up regularly at peak hours, does not have lanes for breakdowns, emergency vehicles, mass transit, or recreation. We're now in the midst of a construction project there, which requires lane closures, which are disruptive to the communities and to public safety. With the proposed bridge redecking project, which is coming up, we understand there's the potential that the bridge could actually close for a period of time. And we really believe this is unacceptable for such a major connection in the state of Rhode Island. A major rehabilitation evaluation report was conducted in 2020 for the 2 Cape Cod bridges and determined there that replacement was preferable to rehabilitation due to functional obsolescence. And I suspect, as you may know, these types of reports include a structural engineering, risk and reliability analysis, cost engineering, economic analysis, and environmental impact. We're not aware that such a study has been done for the Mount Hope Bridge. So in summary, we respectfully submit that the authority consider updating its strategic plan, and that in connection with that, evaluate the functional obsolescence for the Mount Hope Bridge. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other further public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion, seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you.